Well, I think of course, it's a pending trade at this time. It's finalized yet, but I mean, there's disappointment. One is I talked to Twan a little bit. If it goes through, and he's one of the most professional guys I've ever been around. It's unfortunate the way this season took a turn from the beginning with injuries to him and injuries to Mike Miller and Randy Floyd, that we just never could get any tread or any traction as far as what we were trying to do. And then, of course, the situation with Gil kind of tainted everything and sent everything really in a different direction. Through that, and I told him this, when you're in games where you lose as many close games as we've lost, 15 games, 5 points or less, the guys, they never quit, and they play hard. But at some point, what you have to do is you have to look at things, like I look at things and everything, and said it was time to make a change. And we got some confidence in some of our young players. It's going to give us flexibility to do a lot of things. Flexibility to sign guys that we have, the flexibility to look at the free agent market, which is a huge free agent situation in the next 2 years, and it gives us a lot of flexibility. And I know people will look at it and say that the 2 trades we made are, they'll look and say things as far as maybe didn't get enough. I think you got to wait and see how it plays out. The guys that we got are pretty good players, and it showed tonight. And we needed, as we talked many times about our culture change from a team that relied on playing hard and defense, and just not relied on just playing. And I think the guys we got, they bring some of that to our team. And I think what happened too is if you saw Dre was a lot different, a more aggressive player, a more more intense player, didn't have his lapses, more consistent type player. And so sometimes when you bring people in like that, the guys that you have, they bring them along right with you.
Flip, what's the last couple of days been like for you? I mean, here all of a sudden you've got all your star players are gone and you have new stars. What's it like?
Well,
for
probably
you?
if I wouldn't been in the CBA for 7 years, I probably would have gone crazy. I haven't been in the CBA and haven't gone through all that. And I told our guys before the game, I said, this doesn't change going into the game. I said, I expect us to go out and compete and win. Because in this league, everybody that's in the NBA, they're all good players. There's bad teams, but even bad teams have good players on those teams. And what has to happen is you've got to learn to play well together. And I said sometimes as a whole can be better than the parts. And that's how that has to kind of be our marching orders on how we have to play. We've got to trust and believe in each other. But I mean, even tonight, it was an emotional game. It was emotional for the players. But even during the game, even at the end, there was as much emotion in that game tonight with our new guys, old guys, that we've had all year. Even from the beginning of the year. And so I think, I think that you can see that we have pretty good chemistry at this point. That's one game. Now we get to play Denver, it's a pretty good team. So we'll see, where we're at.
Flip, was Antoine emotional about it? And what was his reaction?
I think what's happened is there's been so many things going on. I think that, like I said, I think that if it happens, he's going to be emotional. But I think, like anything, I think that people, when your name is mentioned so much, you're almost prepared. And I didn't talk to him that much. I mean, we just decided that he was playing right before the game. So.
Look, this deal is true. Antoine has done a lot more than just go out and get you 20 and 10 tonight. He's been the spokesman for this organization, good, bad, and different. How different is that locker room going to be now if he's not there?
I think it's going to be. There's no question it's going to be different. I said to him, he's been one of the most professional players I've ever been around. But what happens? Sometimes players can also use that as a crutch. Go talk to Antoine. Because he's the mature guy. So now what has to happen is all the other players have to mature, and they all have to kind of not one guy is going to take over being and can be replace Twan from the standpoint of either on the court or from the standpoint of his leadership in the locker room. It has to be a number of guys as far as being able to do that. And we've had since we made the trade with Karan and everything, we've had a different locker room. I mean, our younger players that say that, Nick and those guys, they're different right now. Whether it's they realize, hey, this is a business, and that if you don't perform at a certain level, things can happen no matter who you are, and that you have obligations to live up to. And those guys have had a different sense of urgency as far as on the court, and they know that there's really not a comfort level. And I think that in this league, the the teams that have success, the teams that play with a sense of urgency, whether it's a team that's good, they have their sense of urgency, know that you only have so many, the good teams, you only have so many times where you have an opportunity to win a championship. And if you have a team that's built that way, you've got to take advantage of it at that point, because you might not come again. And so you have to create that sense of urgency.
With the young players, how much do you think that sense of urgency comes from, now they have a few, great players in front of them?
Well, but I told them, and I said this before, just because they're there, that doesn't mean they're going to play. They have to do things, they have to play the right way in order to earn their minutes. I don't think that, this league, nothing's given to you. You have to earn everything. And just because those other players, whether it's a James Singleton, Fab played well tonight, I'm not afraid to put those guys in at this point. I just want guys that want to compete, play hard, and play intelligent. If you do that, we're going to give ourselves a chance. And I think what you're going to do is, I think the fans are going to enjoy how hard they play. I think they'll get into how the team is, and the fans will be a part of what it is. Prior to the game, that was about as quiet a crowd as I've ever been around. But as the game progressed and they saw these guys play and how hard they played and things they did, they kind of start saying, these guys are not too bad. By the end of the game, they were standing up and cheering for them. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, so if there was a game tonight, and the fact that these guys got to win after all of this, what does it say about the collection of talent that's been as simple to go out there and play 48 minutes?
Well, I think that I think we might not have the marquee player, quote unquote, but I think that we have a sense of players that can play together. And prior to Detroit winning, and even before I went there, but they built that team, and all the guys were people looked at them as misfits. Whether Ben going there for Tracy McGregor, or for Grant Hill was just trying to make a deal work so they have something. And then Chauncey Billups again had been to 5 different teams. Or Rick got traded from here for Stackhouse. And then they got Prince, who no one wanted as a 23rd pick, and he didn't play the whole first year until the playoffs. And what happened was that team all of a sudden just kind of fell into place because of their chemistry. And then they won so much and they all became all-stars. And that's kind of what happens. When you win, you're successful, you get notoriety for that. And so I'm not saying this team is that team, by any stretch of the imagination, but they have guys these guys are very much committed. And I think a lot has come with the guys we have from Dallas, whether it's because they've been in a winning situation down there, but they are coming with the idea of really competing and wanting to win.
Flip, if you're watching the playoffs on TV in May or June and you see Butler deep in the playoffs and Jamison deep in the playoffs, you think it might give you a little empty feeling or a little envious feeling?
When you've been in 15 years and you've seen guys come and go, it's all that's all just a part of the business. And I think that as I said to Anton, those guys are going to teams are going to be good teams. The thing falls into place, and and I would expect them to be there. Based on the fact of you look at the type of teams that they have. But no, I think that what you got to do is you make decisions that are based from a standpoint of what you need to do as an organization, and I think that's what the organization from the top did. They made a decision they thought was going to be best. Okay, thank you.